This example related to certificate of deposit. As we stated in the previous lecture, certificate of deposit related to the bank discount in chapter 2. This is the first example in certificate of deposit in your book. On March 10, 1977, a bank sold a $1 million CD, certificate of deposit, which was to bear interest at 6.25% and mature in December 5 in the same year, 1977. If the buyer held the CD to maturity date, settlement date, focal date, what amount was paid by the bank? Okay, substituting in Formula 1, we have interest denoted by I equal B multiplied by R multiplied by T. You must notice that this problem related to certificate of deposit, but you are required to find the amount of simple interest. I want from every student to know that very closely. This problem related to certificate of deposit, and we know the rule of certificate of deposit. We know that D equal SDT, and how we can calculate the amount, how we can calculate the present value, how we can calculate the amount about certificate of deposit. But this problem, this example related to the formula number 1, which related to simple interest. Okay, then this problem must be calculated by first formula, which related I equal BRT, but using exact time and ordinary interest. Exact time, you must calculate exact time from March 10, 1977 up to December 5, 1977. So that the time must be exact time, but the year we must use banker's rule, ordinary interest. So that this problem using exact time and ordinary interest, you must notice that very closely. This problem related to banker's rule, which we stated in the chapter 1, the previous chapter, which we calculated exact time and exact interest, exact time and ordinary interest, approximate time and ordinary interest, approximate time and exact interest. When we calculated exact time and ordinary interest, this is called banker's rule. This is called banker's rule. So that this problem related to banker's rule. So that you must calculate the exact time from March 10, 1977 up to December 5, 1977. So that this time equal 270 days divided by 360. This is related to banker's rule. Banker's year. Banker's year consists of or contains 360 days. Okay. You are required to find amount, so that you must calculate first I equal B 1 million, R simple interest 6.25% multiplied by T 270 days over 360. This is the ordinary interest. Then amount equal B plus I, the present value or the principal at the beginning, plus I plus the interest, so that the total amount you find on the screen, this is the number you are required to find. So that you must make a differentiation in your understanding the head of the problem. What the requirement in the problem. This problem related to certificate of deposit, but the requirement related to banker's rule, exact time and ordinary interest, so that I want from every student to understand very closely the requirement in the head of the problem. If this problem related to certificate of deposit equations or related to simple interest equations, this is very important, and you are required to find the difference in the main of the problem, in the head of the problem. Now, example number 2 in your book. Example number 2 related very closely to example number 1, so that you must understand what I want to say in this example. On November 5, 1977, the owner of the certificate, the owner of certificate of deposit in example 1 sold it to a buyer who wanted a return of 6% on a simple interest or bond yield equivalent basis. Find the sale price. Again, on November 5, 1977, the owner of the certificate in example number 1 sold it to a buyer who wanted to return of 6% on simple interest or bond yield equivalent basis. Find the sale price. What is the meaning find the sale price? Find the sale price meaning that. Find the sale price meaning that. Find the present value. Find the focal date at now of the money. In the previous example, example number 1, we calculated S, the amount, the total amount in the future, and we find that. But now we want to calculate the present value, B. We can calculate B by 2 equations. B equal I over RT from the first equation in simple interest formula in chapter number 1. And the second formula, which related to S, the amount, B equal S over 1 plus RT. If we have S already, we must calculate the present value by the second equation. B equal S over 1 plus RT. So that we have the value of 1 of S, the amount, and we must divide it by 1 plus R, 6%, multiplied by the time, What is the problem of the time? You must notice that. You must notice that how we calculated the time. How we calculated the time. You must go to the first example. The end of time in first example, December 5, 1977, December 5. But in example number 2, the owner of the certificate sold it to a buyer who wanted to return 6% on a simple interest or bond yield equivalent basis on what? On November 5. So that the difference between November 5 and December 5, 1 month. 1 month. This 1 month equal 30 days. By Arabic language الفرق بين نوفمبر 5 نوفمبر و5 ديسمبر هو شهر واحد. الشهر الواحد 30 يوم في السنة المالية. Okay, that's right. So that the difference between the time December 5 at the same year and November 5 at the same year 1 month 30 days 30 يوم. This is the time in this example, and you have all the data, all the information, S and R 6%, and the time 30 days 30 يوم over 360 because it's a banker's rule, so that you can find B by an easiest way. This is only the 2 example in the certificate of deposit. I want from any student, all student, to understand this 2 example very closely, because this example is very important and we can find this example in the MCQ. Now we will go to the next important part in this very important lecture. Summary of simple interest and bank discount formulas. Terms, structure of interest rate. The first definition in this chapter, expectations. What is the meaning of expectations? Expectations means that what borrowers and leaders think will happen to interest rates in the future has an effect on security prices now. If the interest rate maybe go up or go down, what is the trend of the expectations? The trend of expectations go up or go down. This is what we mean by expectations about certificate of deposit, about bonds, about interest rate of the commercial banks. Liquidity preferences. This is the second important definition. Liquidity preferences. Lenders may accept lower yield on short-term obligations that they can expect to sell with little risk of capital loss. Again, liquidity preferences. Lenders may accept lower yield on short-term obligations that they can expect to sell with little risk of capital loss. Transaction costs. As we stated in the first chapter, commercial transactions. This is what I mean by transaction costs. Transaction costs means that cost involved in buying and selling securities. Securities may be certificate of deposit, may be treasury bill, any commercial paper related to commercial banks. Cost involved in buying and selling securities may affect the length of time an investor prefers to hold securities. The last and the fourth important definition, institutional preferences. Institutional preferences means that different types of institutions may have different choices of terms to maturity. As we stated also in the first chapter, the focal date may be floating from place to another place, from time to another time, or the focal date may be at the end of the investment period, which we can calculate the sum. Focal date may be at the first of the investment period, and we must calculate the present value B instead of S at the end of the investment period, so that the floating of the focal date at the first or at the end or at the middle of the commercial paper or the financial year, this is what we mean the choices of terms to maturity. Now we will go to the summary between the first chapter related to simple interest and the second chapter related to bank discount. This slide is very, very important for every student to understand very closely. We will begin by simple interest. First chapter, simple interest. Cost of credit is based on present value. The first mathematical formula in first chapter denoted by I, the simple interest, equal BRT. B, the present value, R, the simple interest rate, T, the time or the period of investment. The second important question in chapter number 1 is equal the amount. The S denoted for the amount, equal B multiplied by 1 plus RT. The third rule, B equal S over 1 plus RT, and we will go to the next chapter, bank discount. Cost of credit is based on maturity value. Equation number 4, D, the bank discount equal SDT. The fifth formula, B equal S over 1 multiplied by 1 minus DT. The sixth important equation, S equal the amount in bank discount, B over 1 minus DT. Then we will go to the simple interest and bank discount. Interest R, the simple interest, and D, small d, the bank discount. Comparison between R and D. R equal D over 1 minus DT. And D equal R over 1 plus RT. I is the simple interest, B is the present value or principal, R is the interest rate, S is the amount or maturity value, D is bank discount rate, T is the time. And on the other side, D is the bank discount, S maturity value or amount, B is the present value or proceeds, D is bank discount rate, T is time, R is simple interest rate. This slide, this comparison is very important for every student. I want from every student to study and understand these slides very closely.